A flight attendant was arrested after dancing naked in the toilet after taking drugs. A mother won an ultra marathon while also breastfeeding her 6-month-old. And a man is accused of breaking into a home and licking a woman's toes while she was sleeping. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian inside a closet. Let's do it. A flight attendant was arrested after dancing naked on a flight after taking drugs. You know, you often hear of passengers behaving very poorly on flights lately. I've covered many stories of passengers just being out of line, straight up unruly on various chemicals, attacking the flight crew. But it's kind of rare to hear of this kind of behavior from an actual member of the flight crew. In an unusual turn of events, a British Airways flight crew, also known as a steward, was arrested after he was found dancing naked in the business class toilet during a flight from San Francisco to London on Sunday. There were almost 500 passengers on board this flight. Well, it sounds like they had the time of their life. Is this a service that they offer on British Airways? I've never flown British Airways. Perhaps you'd like to upgrade to the dancing naked crew member. Yes, you can have 1, 2, or 3 crew members. Would you like them to twerk in your lap? Or would you just like to bounce together in the banyo? All right, let's get some details and find out how all of this excitement went down. It says during the dinner service after takeoff, one of the flight attendants reportedly went missing on board. So the crew searched the entire jet, and they found this flight attendant naked and dancing in one of the Club World business class lavatories. How big are these lavatories in the business class, man? I've never had any room in a plane lavatory to dance. I can't even raise my arms barely in these things. This guy dancing in the Club World business class lavatories, man, they must be very spacious and luxurious. Wow, one day maybe I'll be able to visit business class. I'll tell you right now, he never could have got away with this in the coach bathroom because you can't really move in there. And if you were dancing on drugs in the coach area, no one would really bat an eye. Also, would have got away with it, is what I'm saying. All right, in addition, it says the flight attendant had changed into a pair of first-class pajamas as well, so changed out of his uniform. So he went and got some pajamas on and just was dancing in the lavatory. The crew suspected that he was on drugs. My goodness, where did you get that idea? Drugs. Of course he's on drugs. What else makes you happy and naked at your job? Only drugs. Or, I mean, if you work at Trader Joe's, they just seem to be naturally happy to be stacking kumquats for some reason at their job. I don't understand it. I think they give them Molly on their shifts, to be honest. Okay, back to the story about the high crew member. You've heard of the Mile High Club, guys? Well, this is the Mile Higher Club. I'd also like to know what he was dancing to. Is it just the songs in his head, or does he have a playlist on Spotify that he can share with the rest of us? I need something to get me through long flights because they really depress me. Something that'll make me want to dance in a lavatory. That's what I'm looking for, although that's probably going to be a chemical in addition to the music. The crew suspected he was on drugs. He was relieved of his duties for the remainder of the flight and was placed in an empty first-class seat for the rest of the 10-plus hour journey. Well, that's a very odd, cozy, comfy punishment. Just a pajama punishment in first class. Yes, listen, Scott, you have been out of line, and we're going to have you just take a first-class nappy for the rest of the flight. Oh, how nice. I'm sure that's where you wanted to be the entire time anyways. The crew alerted the company of what had happened, and the police were called to meet the flight as it landed. The flight attendant was then reportedly removed from the airport in a wheelchair. He received medical attention and was then arrested. He's been suspended of his duties pending an investigation. British Airways refused to comment beyond that, stating that this is now a police matter. Once again, it repeats, the crew suspects that the flight attendant had either taken drugs before the flight or during the flight, since obviously his behavior was way off. Look, was anybody harmed? Did the passengers enjoy it? Because at the end of the day, if the passengers enjoyed it, then it's a big win for everybody. How was your flight, Sandy? Oh, I tell you, it was marvelous. It came with a free magic mic, and he was glistening, and he was dancing, and he was happy, and he made the rest of us very happy. All right, that's the end of this article. I pulled up a second one because I was trying to find a quote from a British Airways employee that was there, you know. The Brits always have great quotes, hilarious things they say. The way they talk makes me laugh. All right, here's a quote from one of the workers. Oh, the plane was cruising at 37,000 feet over the Atlantic, but this bloke seemed to be higher than anyone else. See, I told you, they're hilarious. Here's another quote. We think the guy popped pills when he was meant to be working. It is an extraordinary thing to do. You sure? It's an extraordinary thing to do. You mean a brilliant thing to do? I was hoping they'd say brilliant. Another fellow crew member says, well, not only is it really dangerous, it is a crazy way to end your BA career. This job can do ridiculous things to people, but staging a one-man disco in a Club World toilet is a new one on me. You see? I tell you, man, the Brits are great. They're just so fun with language and words, just very playful. Well, no word on what the punishment is for this erratic employee. If this was Spirit Air, probably keep the gig, but this is British Airways. You have to really have some sort of decorum. You know, they're very regal over there and behaved. Very buttoned up on British Air, I'd imagine. So probably going to be unemployed, and but definitely a candidate to be like Secretary of Air Transportation in the U.S. You know, just join the other team of buffoons. A new mom won a 100-kilometer ultra-marathon while breastfeeding her newborn daughter 3 times along the way. A mother and marathon runner just took multitasking to a whole new elevated level. Stephanie Case was breastfeeding her 6-month-old baby when she won a 62-mile ultra-marathon last weekend. This is outstanding. This woman is super. She's making us all look very, very unproductive AF, though, all right? I can't even run an ultra-marathon at all. I can't run any marathon, a mini marathon, a lesser marathon, an inferior marathon. Whatever the marathons are, even the small ones, I can't get up and do it. I pulled a neck muscle just reaching for my phone this morning. This lady has a baby and then goes and breastfeeds a whole 62-mile way. Despite starting 30 minutes after the other participants, she started later than them. She still won the damn thing. She started 30 minutes after the other participants, stopped to breastfeed her daughter, Pepper. She still won the Ultra Trail Snowdonia's 100K, this unbelievable superstar Canadian mom. She's also a lawyer, and she had her new baby with her, and rather than gobbling down pizza and gulping a Coca-Cola in one of the pit stop stations along the raceway, Stephanie instead focused her attention and energy on feeding her newborn. And the breaks to breastfeed didn't stop Stephanie from achieving victory, and indeed the baby, Pepper, proved to be her lucky charm. Not only did the new mother cross the finish line of this ultra-marathon, but she did so in her fastest time yet, despite starting 30 minutes behind all of the other competitors. It's just unbelievable. I would consider it a win if I didn't die during an ultra-marathon. This woman has a baby 6 months ago, and she's running and breastfeeding. And, you know, your breasts get very enlarged, right? After having a baby, they're probably bigger and heavier than they've ever been. And here she is just running 60 miles or whatever it is. It's just a miracle here. Superwoman. You know, we always talk about there's, you know, aliens coming from another planet. There's aliens right here on this planet. And you know what it is? It's ultra marathoners. They're complete aliens. I don't understand these people's mentality. I can't relate to this. This to me seems like it's superhero stuff. Really. Okay, I got some more statistics and data here regarding Stephanie's race. After factoring in her longer breaks to breastfeed her baby, Stephanie crossed the line in a final time of 16 hours, 53 minutes, and 22 seconds. After crossing the line, her husband John and Pepper, the baby, were shocked to find out that she had won a few minutes ahead of the runner-up. Yeah, and to all the runners that lost to this new mom who started a half an hour after them and was running with a baby, like, you ought to just quit at this point. You're not cutting it. I'm so sorry to tell you. The writing is on the wall for you. All right, we got a quote here from Stephanie, the alien mother. She said, I just had the best time out there. I had the best time out there, just running, completely ignorant of where I was, and just going by how my body felt, you know. Stephanie added that she hopes one day she can show Pepper the baby what she was part of and take her through the photos from this monumental day. Oh yeah, I mean, this poor kid's never going to hear the end of it. I breastfed you while running a marathon and won, and you can't even call your mother. What's wrong with you? I won a 62-mile ultra marathon while lactating, and I was exhausted, and you can't even clean your room when I ask you. Why, I oughta. The article says that Stephanie's run was a cause for major celebration, not only for her impressive time, but also because it was her first marathon after struggling with multiple miscarriages and 3 rounds of IVF before the joyful birth of her daughter. This lady. Unbelievable. Wow. But let's not forget, we got to give some love to the baby daddy that's probably actually going to raise the baby while Supermom just trains 18 hours a day. So give it up to Dad. Now, the article doesn't say what Stephanie's next great feat of strength is going to be. Maybe she'll scuba dive down to the Great Mariana Trench with the baby attached to her. She has a quote, though, for mothers. She says, to never be afraid to keep setting big goals for yourself. How about that? Well, give it up to Steph. A real alien right here on planet Earth that we can admire.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
A creepy man is arrested for breaking into a home and licking a woman's toes while she slept. This is just your obligatory monthly foot fetish story that I seem to offer on the Weird AF News podcast. A real bastion of upper crust news that I'm doing over here. You know, it's very reputable. There's a lot of toe-licking stories on Weird AF News, if you don't know. But I did this story. Do you guys recall the Florida man? He was a hotel manager, and he was breaking into rooms to lick the toes of the guest. That was a memorable one, I'll have to say. And then last month I did the story about the guy that was tricking real estate agents. He would show up to an open house and want to see the house, and then somehow would trick the real estate agent into taking her shoes off and try and kiss her feet. There's just a lot of this going on. It's real pathology that I think needs to be addressed in the culture. This story that I have here surprisingly isn't out of Florida. It's from Ceres, California, which is up near Modesto. A man is accused of breaking into a Ceres woman's house and then biting and licking her toes while she slept, according to the authorities. And this is why you always tuck your feet very tightly and snugly and securely under your sheets, okay? You want to keep them all wrapped up tight so that the toe lickers don't get at you in the middle of the night. They're out there. Oh, they're out there. Okay, let's get some details about the lady toe burglar. Do we want the details? Do we? Or am I going to read this and then wish I didn't know how to read? It says here, Christian Alejandro Solario Anguiano. What a name. He allegedly began stalking this woman at her job in February. Though other employees at the business confronted Christian on multiple occasions, investigators said his behavior escalated to the point that he would follow the woman home after her shifts and even sleep in his car outside her residence. It was all part of his plan because Christian, as you know, he's burning for toes. Okay, this is sad and scary. Witnesses reported that Christian tried checking doors to the home in the week leading up to the incident in an attempt to gain entry. Well, didn't someone call the police on him at that point? I mean, you got evidence that he's trying to get into this person's residence. That's trespassing, right? Breaking and entering, whatever you want to call it. The man should be reported. Christian was positively identified as the suspect through witness statements and surveillance footage on the night of the incident after Christian allegedly put the woman's toes into his mouth. He is accused of trying to get into bed with her. Imagine that. He tried to put the toes in the mouth before getting into bed. I mean, that's just very, very impolite. You should at least get into the bed. Maybe a little kiss on the forehead. You know, it's called foreplay. You don't go right to the toes, Christian. What's wrong with you, buddy? Come on. You want some foot play? You got to work up to the foot play, okay? Not everybody's comfortable with foot play. You got to work up to the foot play, bro. I'm kidding. I don't condone any of this. I think it's weird. I don't understand the foot play. There's people out there that are like, what about toes? What about toes? Don't let it slip away. They just can't get enough toes. I'm so baffled by it. All right, back to the story. It says the victim was able to push Christian off her and retrieve her phone to call 911. Christian fled the scene but was located near the woman's home the next day. I mean, this is how dumb this idiot is. Just waiting in his car the next day. You didn't think when she grabbed her phone and started calling 911 that you might want to, I don't know, skip town or at least leave her parking lot? So dumb. This person has severe mental disorders from top to bottom. I mean, starting with the toes, starting with the plan on how to get toes, and then the aftermath of the toe incident. All of it is just major mental handicap. Christian was booked into the county jail, faces charges of sexual battery, burglary, stalking, and assault with intent to commit a felony. That's the end of the article, and that's all that's going to happen. It's going to be, at the end of the day, treated like a criminal thing, and there's going to be no mention of any mental health intervention for this individual that's clearly got a problem. It's untreated psychosis that's going to go on and on. It's going to be a never-ending cycle, and putting the individual in jail isn't going to fix it. Am I the only one that's recognizing this? There's got to be professionals out there that know this is going on, right, and can do something. Just get these people. They're offering their free toe cleaning services. Unwanted, non-consensual. Can't have it. Can't do it. Get them some help. It's just going to keep happening every time they get a feeling. I got a feeling. I want feet. Oh yeah. I got a feelings about sucking some toes. Oh yeah. Well, hello, my friends and my loyal listeners. Thank you for getting back with your buddy Jonesy and the Weird AF News podcast. Appreciate your time. I'll keep this outro very brief. I just want to say what's up, tell you I'm back. Took a day off yesterday, one of the first days off I've had in quite a while. Took a little long weekend hanging out in Palm Springs, and it was lovely. I needed to reset. It was very good, and I managed to squeak in right before Palm Springs got too hot. I could feel it was happening, but you don't want to catch yourself in this place in July and August. So this was a good time. I stayed at a very lovely hotel that had some mineral springs right on the properties. I was bathing in those hot springs. You ever been in the hot springs? They're like 110 degrees, and man, is your skin so soft and smooth afterward. My goodness, it was fabulous. Oh, it felt like paradise. I felt like one of those rich people, man. I felt like one of those rich people flying British Airways with the big banyos. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I'm highly caffeinated now thanks to a local coffee place that does this thing where they put cold foam. You guys familiar with the cold foam? It's kind of a thing now on the coffees. Got a little cold foam. So I got some banana cold cream foam on top of my cold brew. So as you can imagine, this is an expensive beverage, but I got a coffee fund thanks to my generous listeners and donors. You buy me coffee. Sometimes I get a coffee with it. And, coffee's in Los Angeles, as you know, not cheap. Anyways, we're doing it. Thanks to you, and I appreciate you. I won't keep you long. If you'd like to reach out, my email's funnyjones@gmail.com. And I'm on Instagram @funnyjones. I got shows this week. So if you're in the SoCal area and would like to hook up, go to my Instagram @funnyjones. If you would like to support me by keeping me caffeinated, buying me a coffee or whatever, go to my website, weirdafnews.com, and that's where you can do all of that. And anyways, that's about it. I'm glad you came back. Appreciate you, and good luck with your life, man.